Oh, yeah. Here we are. Welcome to Decibel Geek Friday Night Live. My name is Aaron Camaro, joined as always by my friend Chris Sinzak. How's your hot water heater doing?
It's a lot better than yours, apparently.
We really planned on doing this tonight. And I said, yes, 100%. I'm in. Let's do it. And then crazy shit happens in my life. And here I am right in the middle. I got my friends over here from Fox Plumbing, and they're hooking up my new hot water heater for me. But yeah, we're getting it all straightened out. It's been one hell of a week.
Oh man, so you got somebody else doing the hard work. I didn't know if you were going to be trying to do this while you did the live stream.
Well, I wanted to help these guys out, so I actually disconnected the hot water heater and moved it out of the way for them. So all I got to do is slide it into place, make a couple of adjustments, and I'll be rocking and rolling. I'm still in my work clothes. I haven't had a shower since I got home. We're making it happen, though. We're doing it.
Yeah, I was talking to our friend Victor Ruiz because I was like, hey, I don't want to do this alone, and Aaron's got to replace a hot water heater, so I might need you to fill in. And then when you got back to me, I was like, well, it looks like he's going to do it from his phone, so it should be okay. And
yeah,
then
I'm going to start from the phone, and then eventually I'll go inside. Once everything's done and we're all set up, I'm going to head inside and we'll make it official.
Yeah, but he was like, oh man, he's like, that's never a dull moment. And I said, yeah, well, I said, well, tune in and you might learn how to replace a hot water heater.
It's not as tricky as you would think, actually. The key is just to have a new hot water heater that works. But it was funny because I walked out here this morning. I walked out to the Camaro and I walked over here to the door and I'm like getting ready to go to work. You still with me?
Yep.
Hang on, my phone's doing something funny. So I'm standing here next to the car and I'm fumbling with my keys and I look down here and there's water on the blacktop, on the concrete over here. And I think, where's that coming from? So I look up to the gutters, like, oh, there ain't nothing leaking up there. Then I look down, I'm like, man, that's really weird. I will look over to my wife's side of the garage and I see all the water coming out from underneath her garage door. And I go, I know what happened. The hot water heater broke. So I ran back in the house and sure as shit it's bubbling over and it's making its way out the door. But it must have just happened this morning, just as soon as I got up and got going. We must have been taking showers this morning when it popped because it hadn't been broken for that long, but it was just enough to come outside where I could see it. And I knew something wasn't right.
Wow. Oh man. Never a dull moment.
It's been a crazy week, man, all the way around. You came to me and you said, man, you sure edited that episode fast.
You did?
I said, yeah, I did. You know how I did that? Monday night, well, last week we had a tree. We got all these beautiful trees in the backyard. And we had one out there that was dead. And it broke off. And I was actually sitting on the patio when it happened. I could hear the boom. And it shake the whole ground. And we had a tree fall down. So it was like, okay, well, let's get down what we can and cut it up. And then we'll burn it. I'm like, cool. Yeah, we'll do that on Monday night. So I work all day Monday. And then I come home, we're doing that. And in the process of doing that, I guess I got some ants in my pants. I got chewed up, man, bad. I had bites all down my side, all down my back, on my ass cheeks. The two worst ones were on my ball sack, let me tell you. And those were the two that made me those were the two that made me take Tuesday off of work. I could have dealt with the rest of them, but the two on my ball sack, I was like, I'm not coming in today. So I stayed home that day, put a little calamine lotion all over myself, I'm a little old for body painting unless it's calamine lotion. And I painted the shit out of myself and laid around and thought, well, I'm going to be home. I might as well be productive. I'm going to edit that episode up. So we recorded on Sunday. I had it done by Tuesday.
That was a little bit too much detail. You guys are getting more than what the Patreon people get for as far as our personal lives go. That's way too personal.
Nothing. Free.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, so we haven't done a Friday Night Live in a long time, and we're going to, well, if you're able to get in to record your track and everything to do the new Noize, we'll do that in a little while. Otherwise, we'll just do a regular Friday Night Live. But
okay.
we haven't done a rock and roll show and tell in a long time. So I've got a bunch of stuff to show off.
Before we get to all that,
yeah,
I just want to tell you, if you're watching this and you're in the Nashville area, Those are my friends back there. I said it was easy, but then it doesn't sound very easy, does it?
No, it doesn't.
They're making some adjustments, but that's Chris and Jeremy from Fox Plumbing here in Nashville. If you guys need plumbers, these are your guys. I'm telling you, I use them all the time at work. They are awesome to me and treat me so good and are on the case and never once. I mean, there's been projects where I thought this is going to cost $1 million what they're asking me to get these plumbers to do. And they come in and they make it happen like it's no big deal, like it's nothing. Something I think is just insane. They come in and like, no problem, we can do that, and it's not going to cost $1 million.
Well,
They're amazing. So if you're in Nashville, you need a plumber, look no further than Fox Plumbing. Look at these guys out here at 7 o'clock at night over here helping me out, give me some hot water. My wife is going to be so happy because I'll be able to take a shower.
yeah, well, this is why we make no money from advertising, because Aaron just gives it away for free.
I'm telling you, people, you're lucky this isn't smell-o-vision.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, especially after the whole calamine on the balls story. I don't even want to think about that.
I'm feeling better now, though.
Well, I'm happy.
It was rough there for a minute. I got to tell you, it was rough.
Well, when we get to the new noise portion, we'll talk about other stories involving male genitalia, which nobody seems to want to shut up about over the last couple of days. So,
including yourself.
Yeah, exactly, including me. But hey,
loves big penises.
Hey, I'm without shame. I'll do anything for a laugh. All right, well, let's do rock and roll show and tell, at least for my side, because I got a bunch of stuff to show off here. So here we go.
I got a couple of things.
Okay. So first off, and I'm thinking you probably got this delivered to you too. This is the Rock and Roll Warrior book by David.
It's awesome.
David Liebert, who our friend Susan Michelson, who we worked with on with Dick Wagner and also with Artie Kornfeld with Woodstock. We're going to have some material from that coming out soon too.
Nice.
She helped David put this together. Now, David was a tour manager for Alice Cooper and Parliament Funkadelic, Living Colors, The Runaways, a bunch of bands. And
I love all that stuff.
Yeah, me too. And I'm a little ways into it so far, and I'm really enjoying it. And I think we're going to have him on for an interview at some point.
Should. Yeah, the book is amazing.
Yeah. And he was with Alice during the years that Dick was with him, like during the Welcome to My Nightmare tour and stuff like that. So I'm excited to get through this book and get him on the show, because he seems like a really fascinating guy. Especially love the stories about the writing songs and being in bands in the 60s. It's interesting the way that whole scene worked.
It's sure a lot different than it is now.
Yeah, for sure. And then this other one, I think you got this too. This is called Pictures Alive. It's
yeah, that book is badass also.
Yeah, it says it's photography by Scott Roney, who was a rock photographer during the 80s and 90s. And there's so much great concert photography. And yes, there is Kiss stuff in here, but there's Dio, Def Leppard, Rainbow. I mean, there's a lot. Ted Nugent. There's a ton of great stuff in here, except opening for Saxon in 1984. And there's there's cool little side stories about each concert. So, also the design work was done by Scott Davis, who some of you diehard Kiss fans will understand was early involved in the Magic book project that's kind of turned into a clusterfuck. But he jumped off the ship pretty early on, and we know what that wound up being. So Scott might join us too, but he's made it clear he does not want to talk about Magic. So, but we might have
nobody does.
Yeah, but we might have Steve on at least to talk about these photos, because there's some amazing concert photography in these books. And then another thing I got recently through our friend Dave Tedder from Vanity Music, and we've played this band on the show. I got a vinyl single of Dirtbag Republic for the song Wannabe.
Oh, nice.
This was a Record Store Day exclusive, and it hung out at Great Escape until my brother could go by and pick it up for me. So I've had that. I got that a couple weeks ago. And then the rest of my lot is all stuff I bought at Jeremy Asbrock's garage sale in East Nashville.
The greatest garage sale of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he mentioned you were the first customer, which did not
I
shock
was
me
the
in the
first
least.
customer. No, it was so cool. You know what I'm looking for when I show up to something like that. You know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for CDs to add to my collection. And I was so bummed out. I was like, Jeremy, and I'm looking around, and he's got all this awesome stuff. I was like, you got more CDs than this, don't you? And he's like, oh no, man, CDs were the first thing that went. I piecemealed them out a long time ago. So you had
Right.
just a couple of CDs left, but I found some pretty cool ones. I found a Roger Glover CD, and I found a weird jellyfish CD. Remember, Eric Dover was a
Yeah.
part of that. He was a touring member of that band. Well, this one was actually autographed by the bass player. I don't know who that is, but it was autographed, and you're selling them next to nothing because these were the CDs that no one else wanted, I guess, but I
Right.
wanted them, so I got them. And I got that, and it was like what I got was that, and I'll show you the other thing I got here in a minute. But it came up to like 18 bucks, and all I had was a 20, and I was his first customer. So I said, well, "Here you go," and he goes, "Oh man, I don't have change." I was like, "Don't worry about that, just put it towards the cause, brother." He's
Right.
like, "Man, I appreciate that." He starts digging in his pocket. He goes, "Hang on, I got something for you, make it worthwhile." Gives me a stage used Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick guitar pick. I was like, "Yeah, I'll take that for $2."
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Jeremy, he's such an awesome guy.
Yeah, it was great catching up with him and rock and roll Bob Rose checking in. Good to see you, man.
Well,
Um,
dude,
but but yeah, so I got a few things. Most of what I got was vinyl, but I did get a few cool magazines. Now these would probably make an interesting rock mag, which we haven't done those in a long time.
yeah, we're
So
due for one of them.
and these were all from Jeremy's collection, and like this one I thought was cool to buy because this was in his collection when he was starting into being into Kiss, and it's the Kiss the Guitarist specials. I think it came out in the late '80s, and
Nice.
it's got interviews with Ace, Vinny, Bruce, and Mark St. John, and there's some pretty interesting interviews in this thing too, and a ton of cool photos. So we'll be doing something with this, and then
Good. Yeah, let's do a rock mag with that. That'd be awesome.
do an all
So
Kiss rock mag. Yeah.
yeah,
And then this one is from December of 1976. This is a Cream magazine with with Steven Tyler on the cover,
wow,
an Aerosmith cover story, and then on the back is a cool ad for Parliament Funkadelic, which is kind of
nice.
cool. Do you believe in funk after death?
I love the Funkadelic.
And then from January of '78, this is a Circus mag with Freddie Mercury on the cover,
Uh,
which is pretty cool. But it's also
you ever
got
see those a lot around here?
yeah, it's got an article on Alice Cooper doing the Alice Cooper Show live album in here that's really good. I actually thumbed through it the other day. It's pretty cool. But then, of course, it's got stuff on. It's got an article on Debbie Boone. Okay. And then for the vinyl, I wanted to go crazier, but God, I'm like, money's too tight right now. And and his prices were all reasonable. And my God, if you were a rock and metal fan, I mean, it's like the ultimate vinyl collection here. So some of the stuff I picked up, this was an Elektra promo copy from Motley Crue for the Kickstart My Heart single
Oh
that was
wow,
sent to record stations.
that's badass.
Yeah, which I thought was pretty neat. That was only $8. This is something, and like I bought this because I'm fascinated with this guy. He never got big, but it's also where else are you going to find this? It's an Atom Bomb album from Japan.
Nice.
So it's and it's still sealed too. So like where else are you gonna find this?
Well, I've got my list of CDs that I'm hunting for, and I've got the spreadsheet on my phone. And whenever I go out CD hunting, I have to rely on that to make sure that I don't buy multiple copies of the same CD over and over again by forgetting that I already bought it. And that's happened a few times. So I started the spreadsheet. I've got Atom Bomb's entire discography on there. Never once have I found an Atom Bomb CD in all these years of searching.
Yeah, and that's why I bought it because it was like, where else am I gonna find this? And he's got Steve Stevens, Mick Taylor, Flo and Eddie. He's got a lot of special guests on this record. So I was like, why not buy that? That would be kind of cool. And then I got what the hell was that?
Oh,
Okay. This is another thing you're not going to find in record stores. It's a Carmine Apiece solo record from 1980, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it's got it does have the song Drum City Rocker on here. That's one song that Vinny Cusano co-wrote, which, yes, I still collect Vinny stuff, even though he's a scumbag. So I've got that.
He only buys it used.
Yeah. And then the last thing I bought with the promo image on the cover, a very underrated album, Aerosmith Rockin' a Hard Place.
Yeah, it's got some good stuff on it for sure. I love that album.
Yeah, because my copy is beat to shit. So I was like, I need something that's cleaner, and this is in really good shape. So that's why I bought that one. But yeah,
Well, my father-in-law collects LPs, and I said I was going to do LPs, but I was only going to do live ones because of my CD collection and my commitment to it. And a lot of times my wife will be like, "Oh, I found this old Aerosmith Aerosmith album that my dad don't have, but it's all beat to hell." And it's like, well, that thing has been around since 1974, so it's probably been through the ringer a few times.
Yeah.
So it's hard to find that stuff in such great shape when somebody bought that on the day it came out and listened to it 100 million times over the years. And so when you find those old LPs like that, they're usually not in the greatest of shape.
Nah. And that's one thing I could tell from Jeremy from looking through his collection. I was like, my God, he really took good care of all the stuff he had. So like it was great stuff. And I do believe he's going to be doing a live stream auction in the future. So there was still quite a bit of decent stuff left, especially the vinyl. There's like some real treasures in there. So I told him, I was like, you're not going to have any trouble unloading this stuff. So, and it's funny, my wife
told him that day, anything you don't sell, I mean, if you're not getting the locals around here to stop by and check it out, you always put that stuff online. You're going to get a pretty penny for a lot of it.
Yeah. And I mean, he'll do fine on, especially he still had some really cool Kiss stuff left over. I almost pulled the trigger on his copy of Kisstory, but I didn't do it. Which I've shared that story because I thought I was going to get laid from giving it away to somebody and it didn't work. But anyway, but yeah, long story.
Being a Kiss fan never got anybody laid. You know that.
You got that right. Except only Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley.
That's right. Yeah. They weren't fans. They were in it. That's different.
That's true. What was it? Oh, somebody asked, I don't know who this is. I'm guessing it's Rock and Roll because it was right under where he said he was in the house because it's the whole Facebook user thing, but wanted to know if we found out if the Suicide song was actually Mark St. John.
I was going to ask about that. Have we gotten any response to that? Has anybody cleared up the mystery on that song?
The only thing I've heard was somebody said it does sound like Paul Stanley singing, but I don't.
No, it don't sound like Paul Stanley. Yeah. If anything, the bass reminds me of Gene playing. It reminds me of something that could have been like a Gene demo. But like we said on the show, there's no way on Animalize that Gene and Paul were even slightly considering giving Mark St. John a lead vocal track on that album. There's no way. If Eric Carr ain't getting one, there ain't no way Mark St. John's getting one. And especially after what they just went through with Vinnie Vincent, they weren't giving no guitar player no lead vocal track on an album. No way.
Or even writing credit.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
No, they weren't going to do that. But no, I don't know. Well, do you have anything that you can show now, or are you indisposed?
It remains a mystery. Okay, well we'll step inside for just a second here.
This is like the worst episode of MTV Cribs I've ever seen.
There's Chris over there. He's got the torch out. We're trying to make some adjustments, make everything line up just right. Those guys, I'm telling you, they're awesome. I love them. I found them through a friend of mine. If we're plugging local Nashville businesses, I work at a company that basically runs all the best restaurants in Nashville, and I do the maintenance. And I've got a great friend named Dwayne who runs Comfort Systems, and they do HVAC, air conditioning, heat, whatever you need. Look them up, call them. And he said, "You need a plumber? You need to talk to my buddy Chris." And so I met up with Chris out there, and those guys have been nothing but amazing. I love the people I work with. You want to see something wild and crazy? Hang on one second.
Say Paul Stanley does.
All right. So first off, besides the 2 CDs, this is what I also got from Jeremy Asbrock. Can you see it? Is it
I see
bad?
a picture of all of us in a yard. Oh, the New York Groove pennant. Yeah.
Yeah. You see that?
Yep.
I couldn't pass that up. It's too cool.
That
I
is
gotta
cool.
hang that up somewhere down here. So also, I've been working really hard.
Oh, there it is. The wall of CDs.
Oh, it's not just a wall of CDs. Look, you walk around the corner, there's some more CDs. You walk around the corner. Ah, yeah, there's some more.
Wow.
You know what this is down here?
What's that?
That's Camaro's cutout bin right there, baby. Look at all of them. We could do 1,000 of them.
Let's start with one.
Yeah, that's funny. No, I'm thinking about doing something special for Decibel Geek TV with them CDs.
Oh, you should.
I got a plan. It's going to be awesome. But I want to show you something really cool I found. So I was at the CD store the other day. I found this. It's a Napalm Death CD. I like the heavy stuff sometimes. Always wanted to check out more Napalm Death. I thought, what the hell? I'll check that out. Look at this. Beastie Boys. I don't know if there's any guitars on this album or not, but I'm going to check it out and see if there is. This one, Chris Czynszak will love.
What's it?
Volbeat.
Oh, yeah, I own that one.
I picked that up on your recommendation because you love Volbeat so much. I got this one. This one I was really excited about. The 13th Floor Elevators.
Yeah, I know that record.
Erickson.
Yep. Crazy shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. I love it, though. The craziest thing that I found. This is the weirdest thing. I didn't even know there was such a thing as this. Look at this thing.
What is that?
It is, you see how little it is, right? It's a little
like
tiny thing.
Yeah.
It's Poison. Every Rose Has Its Thorn single. Backed with Living for the Minute, which we didn't mention that on the Poison episode. Living for the Minute's an awesome song.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I don't like it. What is that? Like a micro CD?
It's a little teeny tiny CD.
When I first saw that in a CD player,
I thought it was going to be a bubblegum thing inside, but it's not. It's an actual little tiny CD that you can play in any regular CD player that's got 2 songs on it. This thing is like 3 inches by 3 inches, the case. It's just a little bitty thing. I was like, what the hell is that? It is Poison single.
Where did you pick that up at?
McKay's.
It's probably worth like $300 too.
Probably. You never know. I got it for 25 cents. Don't tell McKay's. So yeah, that's pretty wild though. I saw that because I thought I'm flipping through stuff and I get to Poison. I always skip over Poison because I figure I got everything.
Right.
But then you never know if you flip through. Like that's like Kiss. You know, when I'm looking for CDs, I usually skip over Kiss because I feel like I probably got everything. But man, that day I thought, well, let me take a look and see what's in here just for the hell of it. And you know, they got Power to the People in there. They got Crack a Smile in there. They got like 3 copies of the live album, and they got that thing. And I was like, what is this? And like I said, when I opened it up, I expected there to be a piece of bubble gum inside, like the old records. You remember the candy?
Oh, of course. It was called Chew Bops.
Chew Bops. The first time I ever seen the album cover for Unmasked.
Yep. Was a Chew Bop. They had a British Steel one too.
Is this a real Kiss record? If so, I need to find this. And I was so young, you know, that was back when every Kiss record you would find that came out 5 years earlier that you had no idea about was a brand new Kiss record to you, you know?
Right. No, I've never heard of these 3-inch CDs. Billy Elam's chiming and saying 9 Inch Nails did one, but I have no memory of those at all. That's wild.
Look at this. I think we got hot water here. Yeah, it'd take a minute to heat up. That's all right.
You don't want to take a cold shower?
Yeah, no, toss it here, man. We got any people tonight that are high? You got any people in here tonight want to take a hot shower?
So we're as well prepared as we always are for this.
Oh no, this is exceptionally ill prepared. But
Yeah.
I told you, man, one way or another, we'd make it happen tonight, and here we are. We're making it happen.
Oh, we're doing something. We might actually record the proper episode later, but we'll at least hang out for a while and talk, I think. Uh let's see. So somebody says there are plenty of those. I gifted a friend a few Def Leppard Hysteria singles that were 3. I have no memory of these things, and I was like super into buying music at that time. That's weird. I
Yeah,
don't
I've
know why.
never seen it before either.
Really weird.
I
So
really
have
took
you
no one. Even when I went up to the counter to check out, the guy that checked me out was like, "What is that?" I said, "Check it out. It's a little tiny CD." He said, "Man, I never heard of that before." But he knew who the 13th floor elevators were.
yeah,
Amazing.
I did know that. Yeah, I've listened to some of that stuff. That's too funny. So did you
I
get
think
that link?
years ago I played the Bloody Hammer on the show, I think.
Yeah, you did.
So I
Did you get
explained to that guy, I was like, I never knew nothing about Rocky Erickson, but I knew all these awesome bands that would cover his songs.
yeah.
I said I heard Queens of the Stone Age do a cover of Bloody Hammer. I said I heard Wednesday 13 doing a cover of Burn the Flames.
Yep.
And those songs were amazing. And it's like, if these songs are so good, I want to know who the original guy was that did this.
It was
And then
fucking
you find
crazy as
out it's
shit.
this crazy old hippie dude that influenced ZZ Top and things like that, you know?
Yeah. No, he was crazy as fuck, but very
But he-
talented.
very talented, very crazy, but like his guitar playing, like the riffs, the hooks that he comes up with, he's not what you would think of as like a, I think of like a great guitar player. You think of like Eddie Van Halen or Jimmy Page or Ace Frehley or Angus Young or something like that. This guy ain't that, but he's got the touch when it comes
Right.
to coming up with just amazing hooks for these songs. You know, the kind of thing that you listen to, and go like, you know, that gets caught in your head.
Yeah. He was very inventive.
Now, I've had a few beers. I want to ask you a question. You ever wake up first thing in the morning and have a weird song stuck in your head?
All the time.
I woke up this morning, I had Scarecrow by John Cougar Mellencamp stuck in my head. I don't listen to John Cougar Mellencamp, and I don't remember the last time I have heard any John Cougar Mellencamp. But for some reason today, all I could think of was, you know, blood on the scarecrow or rain on the
Rain on
scarecrow,
the
blood on the,
Scarecrow.
yeah, it's crazy.
It's a great song.
How does that happen?
I don't know. We live in the Matrix.
Mm,
Somebody programmed it into your head for today.
man,
John
programming
Jack
something.
Watermelon.
You know what's super cool? All right, I'm going to tell you guys something. I've had a few beers. I'm going to tell you guys something.
So have I.
So when I go to McKay's, they got like the CDs all set up in a rack, and then they up on top they got a special rack that goes across the top that are like the new things that have come out. And I always, if there's a space up there above the F's, I'll pull an Ace Frehley from down below and put it up above. I don't know why I do this. I don't know why I do it, but I do it every time. And so it got me wondering, is like, so the guy who puts these CDs up here must at some point eventually wonder, how are these Ace Frehley CDs always getting up here? And I always kind of get a chuckle out of it. I don't know why I do it. I just do. I just feel like Ace Frehley should be up on top, I guess. So I do it every time. So the other day I'm in there and I'm perusing through the CDs like I usually do. And What's on Your Mind starts playing over the loudspeaker. And I go, man, that's so cool. You know, so I want to go up to somebody that works there and say, that's so awesome that this is in rotation. But then I stop myself and I say, this is a trap.
You're the asshole that's been doing that.
As soon as I say, I love this, they're going to go, you're the guy. You're the one that does that.
That's too fun. Well, I was in there one day and, you know, Jeremy used to work there part-time.
Don't tell nobody that.
Huh?
Don't tell nobody that.
Why?
I always felt funny, like, when you see Jeremy in there, you'd see him. And I mean, this is years ago, and he's gone on to do so many amazing things since.
Oh, yeah.
But even back then, you know, he was doing like the rock and roll residency and stuff like that. And we looked at him as like, man, this guy is a rock star. You know, we always knew it, you know, from the moment you meet that guy, you know, he's a rock star. But when you see him working at McKay's, you'd be like, what's up, Jeremy? And he'd be like,
Oh, well, that's the thing. I wouldn't even talk to him when I saw him in there, but like I was in there. I need to state that so I can tell the story though, because I'm in there one day and all of a sudden Snowblind starts playing on the speakers, and I'm like,
Like,
who the fuck is playing Snowblind from Ace Frehley on here? And then I look down and I see him, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense,
somebody
But I
slipped
didn't
something
bother
into
him.
the rotation.
I just pretended he wasn't there, but because I didn't want to bother him. But yeah, no.
Yeah,
Hey, we all
I
have
could never
jobs.
help myself. I'd be like, "What's up, dude?" He'd be like, "Hey, I'm just doing this, while I'm not doing other awesome stuff."
Hey, you got to pay the bill somehow. So the Fuggers checked in for all of 10 minutes. Thanks, Shane.
I gotta
Oh
tell you,
boy.
I'm so looking forward to taking a vacation finally this year, and it's finally coming up in the beginning of September. And I'm going to be meeting the Fuggers up in Indianapolis. I'm going to be making a pit stop in Louisville, Kentucky
Yeah.
on the way up. Going to stop to see Metal Mike for a minute. Then we're going to head up and spend the weekend with the Mooger Fugger and his fine wife. And we're going to have an awesome time. I am so looking forward to it, man. I haven't had a vacation in so long. Going to Indianapolis on vacation, right? Who would do that? We're doing that. It's going to
Peyton
be
Manning.
great.
No, I think you'll have fun. If you're there on a Friday, maybe we should try to do. I could do a live stream if you guys want to call in or something.
Yeah, we could do that.
Could have the Mooger Fugger on live.
I think Friday we might still be in Louisville, so maybe we'll do that with Metal Mike. But I mean, shit, we can always do a Saturday too. Who cares, right?
Why
We
not?
can do it whenever we want.
That's too funny. So what's the water heater update?
It's getting close now. I can tell the old ones in the back of their truck. They did a little sawing, a little soldering. Got them copper pipes. Not that PEX bullshit.
I don't know what that is.
PEX is the plastic, the blue and the red lines you see sometimes.
Oh, gotcha.
And those things they're the new style, but they get little holes in them sometimes that cause leaks. And a lot of times those things get buried underneath concrete. And if you got PEX in your house, you got a leak underneath the concrete, you might be jackhammering your whole kitchen to get that shit stopped. I don't like it.
I got PEX.
One's blue, one's red.
They're really moobs, but yeah, I call them PEX. I got to hit the gym. Well, yeah. We don't
one
want
blue, one red.
No, I'm not weird like that.
Baco's got green nipples.
What?
You don't know that? Ask him.
What are you talking about?
Baco's green nipples.
I don't want to know.
It's true. You don't want to know.
Yeah, no, I really don't. He's been really going hard on the Wisconsin hate the past week or so.
I know he has. Man, that's son of a gun. You know what it is? Football season is about to start.
Well, he's got to get it in while he can before the records start.
Exactly.
You don't think Kirk Cousins is going to be the MVP this year?
No. We're looking at back-to-back MVPs this year.
Well, you saw Aaron Rodgers is like messing around with ayahuasca and doing psychedelics and shit. So saying it changed his life. He won the MVP doing fucking psychedelics. I mean, yeah, that's pretty rock and roll.
Right? For sure.
Mark Alden Taylor says Niners and Packers are playing tonight. I didn't know that.
Yeah, preseason. That's finally here. I'm so excited. I love football.
I do too. Chiefs play tomorrow. Excited for that. Got a pretty much a brand new defense.
Back down here in Nashville this year, but it ain't happening. Packers play the Chiefs in preseason.
Do they?
Yep.
Cool. All right.
And hopefully the Super Bowl.
Wow. We will do an in-person live stream or recording if that takes place.
Oh yeah, we've always said that if the Packers and the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, we're doing a live stream.
It'll be the final episode of the Decibel Geek podcast. Because we'll end up hating each other by the end of
it. No, I love football, but I don't take it so serious that I hate somebody over it. Otherwise, I'd never speak to Baco again.
Yeah, I know. The hate between you guys with football, Jesus, crazy.
It ain't even between you guys. It ain't nothing because I don't ever say anything.
Well, I just mean the fan bases. Although I
Oh,
mean, although I have friends that are Broncos fans, and it's kind of understood we don't talk during football season.
sure. It's like those things. It's like the Packers and the Bears. They call that the oldest rivalry in the NFL history. And I got a buddy named Tommy, and I used to watch the Bears and Packers with him all the time. I'm like, the Bears and the Packers are playing this weekend. He's a big Bears fan. Let's get together. And it would suck. I learned to watch football by myself, so I can hoot and holler and cheer all I want to, because when I'm watching with him, I'll be like, yeah. Oh, sorry, Tom.
So let me know if you want me to kick Mark Alden Taylor off the stream for this comment.
I'm on my phone. It's too little. I can't see. You got to read it to me.
He says, well, the Niners own Rodgers in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, you can't really argue that because that's the way it has been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stinking 49ers. I hate all NFL teams except for the Pack.
Right. So why don't we just do? We'll hit some of these news stories. Well, actually, something I didn't even have on the list, and it'll be better to talk about in the live stream because it's a smaller audience. But did you get that link I sent you last night with the reunion tour stuff?
I did, but I didn't get a chance to check it out.
So a lot more of the raw footage from the Second Coming has come out over the last
you
couple of
told
days.
me that even though I thought Sam Loomis was dead and gone, he lives on.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
It's so I'm sure you remember seeing the Second Coming back when it came out.
Yes.
So a lot of the live raw footage that was used to make the Second Coming has been released.
Oh wow.
Now a lot of it is boring because it's, and most of it was filmed by Tommy Thayer. A lot of it is like focusing in on a set list and scrolling up and down or going to a Spencer gift store and showing all the Kiss merchandise. It's like stuff that would be used for what do you call interstitial shots. But there's a ton of live footage from the reunion tour. Although at this point I'm kind of over watching reunion tour footage because there's so much of it that's come out. But there's also backstage stuff. There's like video from the Got Milk ad campaign that they did. There's a video of them.
They had chocolate milk because they were Kiss and they had white faces.
Right. So there's like footage of that. There's footage of it before the reunion tour. They did a thing at the Hard Rock in Las Vegas where they they came down in a helicopter and waved to the fans. They show how that works out. And it's funny on that because this footage is everything. It's all the boring stuff too, but it's like, you hear Doc McGee talking to the guy on the radio that's working the whole event, and he's like, Doc's like, well, they don't want to land in this thing. They don't want to fly down in this helicopter because the winds were really bad. And like you hear them come to a compromise of, all right, land the helicopter in the park, because the guy was like, we got like 500-600 people here, including the press, ready to cover this thing. So he talks them into basically like, all right, land the helicopter. The band will walk out, get in the helicopter, bring the helicopter up 30 feet, have it come back down, shoot it from there, and then have them get out. And then they wave. But it's cool because when they get out of the helicopter, they actually get mobbed by the fans, and you can tell they're pretty uncomfortable about it. It's pretty wild. But there's footage of them in Tokyo. There's footage from San Diego on the reunion tour. They go in to do voiceovers.
Is that still up, or was that just a live stream?
No, that video that I told you about, that I think that's still up. Now the thing is, like, a lot of this stuff is getting put on YouTube and then getting taken down. But the thing is, everybody keeps downloading it and popping it back up on different channels. And I'm in a Facebook group. I think the group's public again now. But that group is the one getting a lot of the footage from Sam Loomis, and I've actually got access to a Google Drive that has all that Second Coming footage on it.
Oh, wow.
I've been watching it for the last 2 days. But like I said, some of it's boring. It's not all amazing stuff, but it's still but it also backs up to me, and this is me having a few too many beers. It backs up the claim about this stuff getting stolen from Kiss and sold off to other people, because it's all shit that Tommy Thayer filmed, and we know Tommy Thayer's not selling this stuff off to people.
No, I wouldn't think so.
No.
Not to put his own ass on the line and be in trouble and try to still be in the band.
I love this
Hmm.
comment. Terrell Fernbach says, "How can you go to a Spencer's Gift and not show the sex gag stuff? It's like going to KFC and not showing the chicken." That's funny.
I haven't been in Spencer Gifts in a long time, but yeah, that's where I remember all dildos and
Oh
pot
yeah,
pipe.
yeah. You could get all and even like the greeting cards were all sexual in nature too. Is that the
Yeah,
wife?
yeah, she's up there
So
looking down on us all.
she doesn't want to go on camera.
No.
I was gonna say she'll kick your ass for that.
My wife up there
Mrs.
looking down
Camaro.
on all us nerds.
Yeah, rolling her eyes just like my wife does.
Yeah.
But no, the
Skeletons over here.
but like there hasn't been any more like 70s or 80s stuff. It's been mostly reunion tour stuff since then, but some of it's pretty cool. Um did you see the reunion tour rehearsal footage?
Was that no, the one I seen was I think it was older than that. It was them, they weren't wearing their costumes or nothing,
Yeah.
and it was off in the distance. I
No,
think
I
that was
need
older stuff.
I'll send you the this is the best footage to me, and you saw it, some of it in the Second Coming where they're in this little bitty rehearsal studio rehearsing without makeup, just wearing street clothes and going through stuff. And then there's also footage of them at like SIR in LA and New York. And it's them doing rehearsals without makeup in 95, 96. And
Wow.
I'll
I'd
send
like
you
to
that
see that.
stuff. They even fool around with like room service at one point. It's pretty interesting.
They call up and say, "Baby, I could use a meal."
Yeah. Bill Elam says, "Why was she only waving one finger?" I think he's talking about Jamie.
Look at there.
Oh,
Beautiful.
that's the new water heater is here.
Exciting.
So is she going to handle paying them and everything, or do you have to take a break and do that?
I will have to take a quick break for a moment. Here you go. Check that out. In case I ever need to do some heavy construction, I'm prepared. All kinds of little Packer stuff around here.
That was a
Yeah, I
Tony
will have
Man.
to take a second, but we're not quite there yet, I don't think.
Okay. I don't want to interfere with their workflow. It's amazing you got them out there that late in the day to do this.
My guys, it's
Yeah.
Fox Plumbing. If you're in Nashville and you need a plumber, these are your dudes. I'm telling you, Fox Plumbing. Look them up.
Eric Carr Plumbing.
That's right. That's a good way to remember it.
Now, if you look up Onk Plumbing, they may not ever show up.
Good luck with that.
You'll pay for it, and they'll
They'll be
never
like,
show up.
wow. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We'll be there in 10 minutes. And then 10 years later, they'll be like, we'll come twice.
Yeah. You'll get 2 water heaters. uh, Markell Taylor's going to LA Guns tonight. That's cool.
Oh, nice.
Rock and
Hopefully
Roll
the
says
weather is nice.
of course there's a Packers hard hat.
Yep, there's all kinds of little Packer stuff hidden around here.
Bill Elam supporting Fox Plumbing.
The Packers tackle box up there. I don't even fish.
Too funny. So do we want to hit some of these news stories? I mean, let's talk about the elephant dick in the room and talk about Tommy Lee for a minute.
Well, hang on a second. Is there any way we could take like a 5-minute break and come back?
I mean, I could keep the stream going and just take us out of it and then come back.
All right, everybody just go get a beer, go use the restroom, and we'll be right back.
Bye. Okay, guys, I'm back. Aaron will be back in a minute. He's tending to his water heater. So I thought I'd give you guys something to talk about while we get ready for him to come back. If you haven't checked out the new episode Demolicious, it came out this past week. It's episode 490. We're 10 episodes away from 500. And a lot of cool demos from Enough's Enough, Tough. I think there's a Mark St. John demo. We think it's a Mark St. John demo, but we're not totally sure. Check that out if you haven't checked it out yet. A lot of cool stuff on there. There's a Pantera demo from Before Cowboys from Hell that's really great. Check that out. But yeah, that's the newest episode. We're new noise. We were going to record tonight. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do that tonight. We might have to record it over the weekend. But of course, we're going to talk about the Tommy Lee situation and all that good stuff. And but there's a lot of stories that I want to hit on tonight. If we on the new actual proper recorded episode, including Michael Sweet undergoing his third eye surgery. There's a Ozzy Osbourne inflatable that's coming up on a cross country tour. Another way for Sharon to make money. Russia's Alex and Getty got back on stage recently. Well, we were going to talk about that. Joey Belladonna had some pretty pointed comments about how he was treated in Anthrax before rejoining the band, which is interesting. Wednesday 13 new record. Flannel Nation, a California festival with grunge and alternative bands that kind of went tits up. I have a lot of thoughts on that as a promoter. Anthrax been canceling concerts due to a quote unquote medical concern. I'm not sure what that means or what that is. I'm supposed to see them. Aaron's supposed to see them too next Tuesday here in Nashville at the Ryman. Hopefully everything's going to be okay with them. Mark Torian gave a ridiculous interview talking about how James Hetfield was a big champion for the Bullet Boys in the 80s. We're going to get to that. Gary Holt had a funny story about thinking that he was convinced that there were 3 different Lemmys. I'll explain when we get into it. And some tour dates for Joel Hoekstra and Brandon Gibbs, who was a past guest on the show. We're going to get to all that stuff as we do it for the New Noise episode. Either we'll do it tonight or we'll do it on Sunday probably. Rock and Roll, thank you for checking in. Al Horta, Be Cooler Be Podcast Out is here. Still waiting for an invite for your show. Love watching what you guys do, but kind of feel left out that I haven't been invited yet. Anyway, that's me talking after too many drinks, and I'm drinking this is like the least manly beer of all time. Strawberry Guava Kona Island Seltzer. It doesn't get gayer than that, does it? But hey, it's low carb. So that's what I'm doing tonight. Waiting on Aaron to rejoin me here. And if anyone's interested, I'll talk about Rock and Pod a little bit. I spilled the beans on the newest Decibel Geek episode. If you haven't checked that out yet, Rock and Pod's going to be St. Patrick's Day weekend of next year. The pre-party will be on St. Patrick's Day. So there will be a lot of drinking done there. I'm hoping to get a very cool Thin Lizzy tribute band to be part of the festivities for the pre-party concert. The venue that we're going to use is the Nashville Fairgrounds. It's their biggest building. It's almost 50,000 square feet. So if you know businesses that want to sponsor, let me know because I have a lot of room to fill. And we're going to do the comedy show again. I think we're going to do the movie screening again too. So that'll be cool. It's weird doing this solo, but I'm doing the best I can. So all 15 of you that are watching, thanks for watching. And who is this? Rock and Roll. I want to be a part of that show too. Al. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll have both of us on because we don't get invited. And Rock and Roll was supposed to start back up in October, but you said that you're going to start back up in December. So I don't know what's going on with that. I'm happy to be part of the show anytime though. But yeah, that's those are the kind of the stories we were going to cover this week. And that kind of catches me up now. I'm just waiting on Aaron to show back up. He's got to pay this guy for the water heater. And if there's something you guys want me to talk about, let me know. So that sounds fantastic. Hyped about the Lizzie. Well, yeah, it just depends on if I can get them. And if they're not touring with Ace, that should give you a hint of who it is. But yeah, Thin Lizzy is one of my top 5 favorite bands, and I saw recently this week that there's a Gary Moore authorized biography coming out, so I will definitely be buying that. I shared it on my Facebook yesterday. So Gary Moore, one of the most underrated guitar players of all time, just an absolute legend. And check out his stuff if you haven't yet. But yeah, no, Thin Lizzy stuff is great. I made sure that I got some of their stuff in on the Demolicious episode. A cool demo from the Snowy White era of the band. I love Gary, but I also love the Snowy White stuff. I love the Chinatown stuff. But yeah, that was not a great time for the band personally, but some great music was put out during those years. So I posted some of that, and I've been listening to and that's on the Rock Legends box set that I've been listening to again. I bought it when it came out last year, and was well worth the money. Tons of demos, unreleased songs, live stuff, awesome stuff. Rock and roll. Oh, got a new job, so I had to push it to. I get that. Your job comes first. Al says, "I love Gary Moore. Want to see that doc most definitely." Well, I don't know about a doc. I know that it's a Gary Moore authorized biography. It's not a biopic. It's a book. Unless you're talking about the Phil Lynott documentary that came out, Songs for While I'm Away, which is okay. Left out a lot of cool stuff, and there's actually better stuff out there about Phil, but I enjoyed it. Thought it was cool. I don't know who Facebook user is. Thin Lizzy are one of my favorites. So I'm glad you've really gotten into them recently. Yeah, I'm they're one of my top 5 favorite bands now, and there's something for every mood. And I'm like, even lately, I've been getting into the first 3 Thin Lizzy records, which are very folky, but for some reason they're really good to listen to while you're working. Very mellow, and Vagabonds of the Western World, which is kind of the transition record, I like a lot, and I love Nightlife, even though it's very jazzy. Oh, and Al says I meant the book. Sorry, that's okay. Not that I wouldn't love to see a Gary Moore biopic. I would be all about that. But yeah, he was awesome for sure. We check in with Aaron and see if there's any news on. Yeah, he's gonna leave me twisting in the wind here. So, but yeah, let me put the banner back up. We'll be right back. I'll hopefully we'll be back and we'll talk some more current news. Thanks you guys for tuning in. We don't get to do these very often, and it's fun to do them. It's nice to kick back, have a few drinks, and talk to you. And oh, wait, looks like he's back right now.
All right, real deal now. We got it all situated.
Oh man, I did the best I could for the last 5 minutes.
Nice. I'm sure you did just fine.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
I still got my work clothes on. Jeez, man.
I just defaulted to talking about Thin Lizzy.
Okay, hey, that always works. When in doubt, talk about Thin Lizzy.
Well, I was talking about how there's the Gary Moore authorized biography is coming out in the next few months.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like his estate okayed it, so I'm
definitely.
I
was just gonna ask. Wait a minute, Gary Moore's dead, ain't he?
He is. Yeah, he's been dead for a long time.
But he wrote a book before he passed away.
Well, it's somebody writing like his biography. It's not an autobiography. It's a biography.
Okay, I got you. I got you. That ought to be interesting. That guy lived a crazy life.
Yeah, probably. I mean, drinking wise, definitely was the champion of the band. Although Robbie Robertson Brian Robertson would be a close second.
Wasn't there a story about him? Like he's got a big scar on his face, like he got cut with a bottle or some shit.
Oh, Brian Robertson, yeah.
No, Gary Moore.
No, I think you're thinking of Robbo. Because I know, like he got fired from the. He got into a bar fight, and that's why he got fired from the band. He got into a brawl.
Wow. Jeff, what do you got to do to get fired from Thin Lizzy?
I know. All of them were fucked up. So Rock and Roll says hot water heater, Aaron, you feel better?
Yes, not yet. I haven't had a shower. Let me dim this light a little bit. One time.
Okay. Gotta get some mood lining. Oh, well. Rummy, I'll bring that up because I'm not an expert on Gary Moore, but that's interesting. So looks like you are right. Rummy says Gary Moore had facial scars, so maybe that is.
Maybe I am right. I mean, yeah, of course I'm right.
Al Horta says I sadly never got to see Gary Moore live. I wish I. Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah.
if you watch some of the he used because like towards the end of his life, he would start doing Thin Lizzy tribute concerts near the end of his life in Ireland, and some of the best live footage you'll ever see on YouTube is on there.
Yeah. And I recently just started checking out some of his solo stuff, which,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, growing up, I was never a big Thin Lizzy fan because I only heard The Boys Are Back in Town and the other song that they play on the radio all the time, and I never was like
The
those
cowboy
two.
song.
No, not Cowboys. So Boys Are Back in Town, and is it just The Boys Are Back in Town? Is that their only?
That's pretty much it for America. I mean,
I don't know.
cowboy song was a minor hit, but that's pretty much it for America.
Yeah, so maybe it was just the one song. Then that's all I ever
You
heard,
know,
and I was like,
I've heard cowboy song a few times, but it's almost always Boys Are Back in Town.
Yeah, it's always Boys Are Back in Town,
which is not even the best representation of the band. It
No,
never has
totally
been.
not. Because like all them years of hearing that song, I was like, Thin Lizzy, it's
Oh,
all
what
right, you know.
Dancing in the Moonlight? You think it was that?
No, not Dancing in the Moonlight. I love that song.
It's got me in its spotlight. I mean, where else you can hear?
What's the second biggest Thin Lizzy song?
I assumed it was cowboy song. Maybe I'm wrong.
Jailbreak.
Oh, Jailbreak. Yeah,
Jailbreak.
I should have thought of that.
Yeah. Those are the two songs. I knew there was two of them, that and Jailbreak. And I'm like, those songs are, I mean, now, I like those songs. But when I was young, I was like, man, those are the only two songs I ever heard. Like you said, not totally a great representation of, you got it, Terrell, of Thin Lizzy, but, not terrible either.
No.
Thin Lizzy, you can't really say this is the song that epitomizes what Thin Lizzy is, because Thin Lizzy is not the kind of band that only has the same kinds of songs. All their stuff is a little bit different. Some of their stuff is heavy as hell, and some of their stuff is so ballady.
Folky.
You'd think it was a Bob Dylan song or something.
Well, I was mentioning when you were off camera that I've gotten into the first three records, like and they're incredibly folky. They're it's very singer songwriter stuff, but at times, if you're in the right mood, they're perfect for that. And then like Nightlife is one of my favorite records by them, but it's almost like lounge music on a lot of it.
That's one I like, the title track and nothing else on that album.
Yeah,
I like the harder rocking stuff.
Give me
the John Sykes years any day.
Yeah, no White Snake without Thin Lizzy. Yeah, that's true. I mean, and also Tigers of Pantang. John Sykes has had a hell of a career. I mean, to be tied to all three of those bands, and Blue Murder.
Talent.
It's too bad he's insane. So do we want?
Did that album ever come out by him?
It's called like Psyops. I don't know I don't think the full album's come out. I think it was just like the first single came out.
I know there was like a year ago he came out with a single, like this is a single off the new album, and I didn't think the new album ever came out.
Yeah, I wasn't like super impressed with it. It was I mean the playing was great, of course, but it wasn't quite what I was hoping for. Yeah. Did you see Whitesnake canceled their whole tour? Like I think they're done.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like, I mean, if you can't have David Coverdale, you really, I mean, that's Whitesnake. That's the one constant over all these years with Whitesnake. David Coverdale, Whitesnake, Coverdale. It's kind of the same thing.
I know they had hired Dino Jalusic, who we featured on the show with Animal Drive. That Frontier,
super talented dude,
amazing singer. But I like a lot of people like, well, just get Dino out front and do it. But like, I don't know, man. Can you really call it Whitesnake without Coverdale? I don't think you can.
Nope, not at all.
There's certain
like
people
having Wasp without Blackie Lawless.
Right. I mean, there's certain members you can't replace, and that's one of those. Like, and I know Great White continues on, but to me, Great White will never be Great White without Jack Russell. It's just it doesn't work.
I agree with that.
You can go hear those songs, but even if I got a free ticket, I don't know that I'd go see Great White without Jack Russell. I'd go see Jack Russell.
I mean, if Jack Russell's Great White was playing the very same night as Great White, and I had a choice, sorry guys, I go see Jack Russell every time. Yeah,
you want to hear that voice,
Which I mean, you talking about Michael Lairdy and Kendall, Mark
yeah.
Kendall, huge parts of that band, It's always a little bit tougher with the singer because like a guitar player can come in and play exactly like another guitar player. Tommy Thayer has made
All
a
right.
huge career off of that. Play exactly like the guy you're taking the place of.
Yeah,
Comes to singers, it's a little trickier,
harder
I
that
mean,
way.
you can find a Ripper Owens that
Sure.
sounds just like Rob Halford, can sing just like the guy, but it's never gonna quite be the same.
No.
And I hate that because like guitar players, you hate to say it, but they're way more replaceable than a lead vocalist because the lead vocalist is such a upfront part of the sound,
Yeah.
that you hear it, you recognize it, with when Ace Frehley plays, I hear it, I recognize it, I know that's Ace Frehley, or at the
Sure.
very least, it's somebody playing just like Ace Frehley.
Right. Yeah.
Singers, I mean, you're never going to hear something and go, is that Ozzy? No, that's not Ozzy. No,
Yeah.
well, yeah, because nobody sounds like Ozzy. You're never going to hear a song and go, is that Dio? Well, no, it's not Dio. Oh, God, it sounds just like him,
Right.
It's always, you can get close, but it's never going to be exact.
No. Yeah. The
I
human
mean,
voice
look at
is
Classic
unique.
78.
Yeah.
Nobody does it better than those guys, but even their vocals are not 100% perfect to sound
No,
exactly like Paul, exactly like Gene, exactly like Ace.
the human voice is like a fingerprint.
Yeah.
It's especially if you have a distinctive tone like that. It's you can't duplicate that. It's impossible.
Yeah, and
But-
David Coverdale 100% fits that to a T. You're not going to have anybody else that you're going to go, oh, is that David Coverdale? No, that's some other dude.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
And if you're buying a ticket to go see Whitesnake and it's somebody else besides David Coverdale singing, you're going to be disappointed, or I mean, you might still go have fun, but it's not going to be the same. Like, would you pay the same amount to see Whitesnake with somebody else singing as you would with David Coverdale singing?
No, of course not.
No.
But yeah, I guess they were supposed to go out with Scorpions for the rest of this year in the U.S. and they canceled the whole thing. So I don't know who Scorpions is gonna play with. I don't know. I'd see the Scorpions again. I wouldn't mind seeing them. I've seen them a
Yeah.
couple times.
And
but,
their last album was killer.
yeah, that Rock Believer, that's got to be in my top 10 for the year. I can't imagine it won't be.
Yeah, that'll be one of those things where at the end of the year, like, well, where are you putting Scorpions? Where are you putting Scorpions? Because they're going to be on. They're both going to be on our list. And you're talking top 10 of the albums. If it ended today, Scorpions would be right up there.
Yeah, I think they make my top 10 because I've gone back to it a lot of times. Although I tell you one thing, and are you okay with just doing New Noise on Sunday and doing it properly?
Do that because I'm not set up to record or nothing like that.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Let's just do that. We'll just hang out and bullshit. But I did find a band here from Nashville that fucking blew me away this week, and I can't stop listening to their record over and over again.
Who's that?
They're called Guillotine.
Huh? I don't know nothing about Guillotine.
Well, I'll tell you. And the funny thing is it ties back to Rockin' Pod because one of my volunteers from 2019 was a guy named Zach, who was a drummer, and he plays in a band called The Sacred also. That's a local band.
I think I remember Zach.
Yeah, super nice guy. Worked at Forks Drum Closet. No, this only pertained to people that are local, but like one cool thing he did during the pandemic was like he loves the local scene so much that he's gotten like tattoos of all the rock venues around town on his arms.
Wow.
It's like super dedicated to the whole cause. And but like he's he plays where he can, and like the guy that sing and Guillotine is a trio. So also playing, I think he plays bass for this. Jeremy Barber, who we had at Rockin' Pod in 2019, who he was also a member of Green Jelly for a while.
That's right. He's a super cool dude.
Very nice guy. He's the other member, and then the singer and I think the main songwriter is a guy named Jake Johnson. And I know Jake because Jake is, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I believe is the stepson of Hugh McDonald, who was the bass player for Bon Jovi, who lives here.
I have no idea.
Well, but like Guillotine's been playing Bowie's as like the house band for a long time, for a while now. And like they typically,
and if we're doing local Nashville plugs, if you're in town and you're watching this, Bowie's is
it's
fucking
amazing.
awesome, man. Fucking awesome.
It's a great rock club. And like
I was telling the wife the other night, she was like, we don't never go downtown, that's for a good reason. Going downtown sucks. Like, I always hate it when somebody comes from out of town and be like, take us down to Broadway. I'm like, get an Uber. I ain't going.
Yeah, me too.
But I had to tell her the other night, we were talking about that. I was like, but there is an exception. That place Chris and I went to for the big Iron Maiden party with Power Slave, as a venue and as the cool people. Oh, there's the wife sneaking around right now that were working there. Just all around awesome rock and roll vibe through and through. The people work there, the people that run it, all good, man. Bowie's of Nashville. If you're going to come to town and you're going to party downtown, there ain't no place else you need to go except for there.
Yeah, seriously. They're the exception. And it's like old school Nashville because I grew up here, and it's like the vibe there reminds me of what I grew up with.
And that's what I said that night when I got up on stage to introduce the band. Like, when I first moved to Nashville, I asked, where is this place? This was the place that I was looking for when I first moved here. And I'd go downtown and people would be like, let's go party on Broadway. And they drag me to the honky tonks and they drag me to the discos. And sure, the girls were pretty and it was a lot of fun. But I would always say, God, this music, I can't fucking take it no more. Please, is there a rock and roll bar down here? And they'd go, no. I mean, there used to be, but I don't think there is anymore.
Right.
But that place was fucking cool.
But yeah, like Jake and Guillotine play there pretty regular. I think Monday nights at least. And but they usually do covers like 9 Inch Nails. They do like a lot of industrial stuff. And they released their album Odium this past week. And I'm not kidding, man. And you know as much as I do how much stuff gets sent our way to listen to.
Yeah.
And most of it, I hate to say this, is not great, but like, they were promoting, and like Jeremy had my favorite. It was like the greatest promotional post I've ever seen from somebody I know. He goes, he posted it on Twitter. He's like something like, here's our new album, you pieces of shit. Listen to it. It was like, he just went all out. And I was kind of like, you know what? I'm going to listen to this purely because he posted that. And I can't stop listening to this record. And it's like the perfect mix of industrial, pop rock, metal. It's hard to even describe, but but there's not a bad song on the damn thing. Like this might make my top 5 for the year. And it's a local unsigned band.
It's a full length album?
Yes. It's like 10 full songs.
Wow. I'm going to have to get my hands on that.
You got to listen to it. I was just like, and like, I'm fucking skeptical about everything that gets sent to me. And I'm like, this is because they typically play covers when they're live, but like, this is like 10 full original tracks. I'm like, motherfuck, this is good. This is really fucking good. So nice. If you haven't checked out Guillotine, you can go on Spotify and listen to the whole thing for free. So
I remember seeing some posts on Facebook about Guillotine. I meant to ask you about them because they were like coming up in my feed a lot, and every time they post something, they would come up, and I didn't realize Jeremy was in that band. But I was like, got a new album coming out. I was like, is this an old school Nashville band? Is this something new? I had no idea, but I was getting those posts and I was curious about it. I was going to ask you if you knew who they were.
And like on their live show, they've got like a girl that breathes fire, and it's like very theatrical. They wear makeup. I mean, it's really cool.
Well, I mean, that guy was chosen to be in Green Jelly,
Yeah, exactly. But like, I assume they were just like an industrial 90s cover band, and like you'll hear the 90s influence in the music, but I can't stop listening to this damn thing. There's a song on there called Relit Cigarette that's like the greatest like breakup song that sounds like it came out of the 90s I've ever heard. It's really good stuff.
I want to check that out.
Yeah.
Guillotine. How was that name never been taken over the years?
Exactly.
Crazy.
And I even messaged Zach yesterday, and I was like, I can't stop listening to this fucking record. And he was blown away by it. I was just like, well, we're gonna try it for Rockin' Pod. We're gonna try to do concerts over multiple nights, and I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure Guillotine is one of the bands that plays at one of these concerts because they deserve it.
Have we ever officially announced the date for Rockin' Pod yet?
I did it while you were off camera, but
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
St. Patrick's Day weekend next year.
Heck yeah.
Oh, I like Aaron Baker, the beast from Enough's Enough. Yep. That
He texted me today about that.
that's the best Addiction song I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I love that song.
You hooked Aaron Baker into being an Enough's Enough fan, not me. I didn't. I'm the one that always is turning people on to Enough's Enough, but not this time. You mentioned that song on Demolitions, on the Demolitions episode, after I had played The Real Thing off of the Rarities and Demos disc, and talked about what a great song was. And I totally wholeheartedly agree because there is Enough's Enough is kind of like a pop rock band in a lot of ways, but that song is so dark. The subject matter of it is it's like one of those songs that like it's a movie.
Yep.
I love songs like that where you hear a song and you kind of get a picture in your head of what it's about, and that song is perfect for that.
It should have been a hit.
Yeah, The Beast by Enough's Enough. It should have been a huge hit.
I mean, just the line alone, having a Coke without the smile. I mean, that's a fucking amazing, an amazing lyric.
And that's not even the only great lyric in that song.
No, the whole thing is amazing.
I mean, fuck, it was written by Donnie V.
Yeah, but even like the sound of the song when it came out, like it fits the times. It's one of those mysteries. Like, why was this not a hit? It should have been.
Because Enough's Enough got canceled before that. They weren't allowed to go on.
Well, when you fuck with Clive Davis, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess so. I look at that too. I look at like I was watching. They played I think Superstitious on the David Letterman show back then, and know that back in the 90s, if you got on David Letterman, that meant you were somebody. In the time when other bands that people lumped together with Enough's Enough weren't getting that airplay, Enough's Enough was on Dave Letterman. Dave Letterman gets up right at the very beginning. He's got Animals with Human Intelligence CD in his hand. And he says, nowadays when it comes to rock and roll, you don't need anything more than this band. Am I right, Paul? And Paul
Schaefer.
Paul Schaefer's like, yeah, that's 100% true, Dave. And they go, all right, here they are. Enough's Enough. And it's Chip and Donnie and Derek Frigo, and they're playing with Anton Fig and some of the guys from David Letterman's band, and they play the song Superstitious, which is badass hard rockin' tune. And you look at them and they go, okay, this is after. Like, you think about the video that was on for Fly High Michelle that was on Beavis and Butthead that got him made fun of, kind of really, because Beavis and Butthead really had a good hand in like hurting bands or helping bands, a lot of times hurting them. And they heard Enough's Enough with that. But then you look at them when they're playing on David Letterman and they're like, okay, they're not wearing lipstick.
They look cool.
Goofed up. They look cool as fuck. Donnie V is the lead vocalist. You go, this guy is just as cool as Steven Tyler or anybody else. This guy has got it, and they got it. This band has got it, but they don't.
That's one band where they got ruined by trying to fall in with the hair bands. Like, because they went to the extreme with the makeup and the glam look, and they didn't need to do it.
No, because the music didn't match.
No. And especially with the way the times were changing, they got typecast immediately.
Yeah, I remember that video really did it. And Donnie V told us, they went into to go do the video and they go, here's a room full of clothes, pick whatever you want to wear. And so they picked the wackiest, craziest shit they can find. Huge mistake. It's just said, no, we're just going to wear what we're wearing. We don't want all this shit, all these, the doves flying and the balloons flying and we're floating through the clouds and all that. We're just going to stand here. We're going to play our song. Other than the name, Enough's Enough.
Yeah.
They could have been, okay. Well, also, besides all the fuck ups with doing drugs and being fuck ups.
Well, that's part of it too. But like, I remember when New Thing came out, I've the look actually got me hooked on them because I was into all the glam rock. But at the same time, I remember listening to it thinking they don't need to do this image thing because it was like it was, and I could even back then I could tell it was a bad move because
Yeah.
the song was so strong, and then but then once Fly High Michelle comes out, that yeah, it was a big hit for them, but it also was the nail in the coffin for them too, as far as making it on a mainstream level. Because by that point, Nirvana was already taking over. I think
Yeah.
by the time Fly High Michelle came out, and of course, I even love the video because I love that stuff. But it was like they kind of sealed their fate with that video because all the rainbows
Right.
and stuff.
Well, I mean, you look at Smells Like Teen Spirit, the video.
Yeah, it's a
Look
high
at
school gym.
Rusty Cage by Soundgarden. Look at Man in the Box by Alice in
Yep,
Chains. What Enough's Enough put out at about the same time
yep.
is like the
It's
polar
polar
opposite
opposite.
as you could get from all that.
Yep.
However, if they would have had a stripped down, just us playing the song, or with some other stuff, but not so colorful and pastel, as that video
Or
was, I still say to this day, if somebody asks me what is the most underrated band of all time, to me, the answer is always easy. It's Enough's Enough.
oh, I agree. Well, but even like the Fly High Michelle video, like talk about a bad concept for a video behind a song that has nothing to do with that concept because the song's dark. It's about a
Yeah.
girl that killed herself.
Yeah.
It's a dark subject matter, but the video is all fucking lollipops and rainbows, literally.
Yeah. No, it's a terrible video. And
So
it really fucked that band. It really did.
it did, and it was a bad move for them. And then by that point, they were screwed. But and it wasn't until years later because MTV sure didn't play it. But like, you remember they put out the video for "There Goes My Heart," which was like
Yeah.
a Beatley pop esque song,
Very Cheap Trickish. Yeah.
Cheap Trick, Oasis type sound. And I've watched that video years after the fact, and like it's sad watching because I'm like this could have stood a chance if they were a new band, but by that point they were already written off.
And it's a shame.
It was just a shame because that song itself that's a magical pop song. It should have been a hit.
Yeah.
I don't even really like that song much, but at the same time I'm like radio should really embrace that song.
Would have ate it up. Would have loved it if it wouldn't have said Enough's Enough on it.
Yep.
Would have been any other band.
Rock and Roll says I was high without smoking. It's sort of we've seen it in person, Bob, but trust me. If you want to interview Chips enough, roll a really big joint because by the time the joint's out, he's gone.
And don't let it go out. For crying out loud.
Oh, look at this. Aaron Baker says his dad saw Enough's Enough in the Quad Cities when he was growing up. That's cool.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's really cool.
And then Ronnie Parker, 5 years too late to the scene of the 80s. Although I don't know that they were an 80s band. I mean, like they sounded more Beatle-y. I think that honestly,
they were like a 70s influenced band. Really.
Which musically that would have worked at that time, but the image just fucking killed them.
Yeah. You couldn't take all that off of them, and which they did. They toned it way down. Like the perfect example is that appearance on David Letterman. I mean, they looked legit, like they weren't trying to be something. You look at the Fly High Michelle video, they look like they were trying to be something. And Chip, he's a glamorous dude, he probably loved the hairband stuff because it gave him a chance to be the over the top personality that he is. But that even still works. Like, even if the rest of the guys look halfway normal, take the crazy wig off of Derek Frigo, and just
like that was a wig.
I'm assuming. I think Donnie V told us that it was.
I'm sure it was. Look at it.
Yeah. No, man, he got his hair cut at the same place as Vinnie Vincent.
Yeah, at the wig shop. Chris Fretwell checking in. Yeah, Derek Frigo was very underrated. Amazing guitar player.
Oh, so good. So
But
good.
now
Yeah,
I
somebody that I didn't know put a thing up like most underrated guitar player. Like underrated and enough's enough just go together. Derek
yep.
Frigo, you know.
Well, and look at if you ever listen to the stuff he did in Le Mans, the band that he was in before Enough's Enough. There's some amazing shredding on that stuff too.
He could have been one of those
Mm.
cacophony guys.
Absolutely, he would have been a
If he'd have
Shrapnel
been out,
Records artist.
yeah, if he'd have been out in LA at that time, he'd have been a
Yep.
Shrapnel Records guy for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. But like also like
That was always the beautiful thing about Enough's Enough too, is like you got these guys and they're influenced by the Beatles, but you got Chips Enough, and he looks, he's crazy looking, like he should be in like some hair band. You got Donnie V writing these Beatley Cheap Trick type,
Mhm.
sometimes even beyond that, beyond description type songs. But then you still got Derek Frigo playing guitar on it, which adds all these ripping ass solos to everything.
Mhm.
Hey, man,
And then
it blows my mind. Perfect band that just never made it.
and Vic Fox, who could put on a show by himself with his drums. I mean, he
Yeah.
just he was a showman on his own right. But
Yeah.
I remember
And the ladies love that guy.
oh yeah, I mean, yeah, he looks the same now, which is weird. I don't know how he pulls that off. But yeah, I don't know how we turn this into an Enough's Enough discussion, but I know you're happy.
At least we're not talking wrestling, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't mind talking wrestling either.
If
Although
can't
we should
talk wrestling, I want to talk Enough's Enough.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know, like they were just I remember, when New Thing came out, I remember seeing that right as it was released and thinking this band's going to be big, and then it just never happened. But it was also, cuz I lost track of them because MTV stopped playing them, but I remember with later on getting into Right by Your Side and Mother's Eyes and stuff like that. Like those songs should have been hits. I don't know how they weren't. It's really fucked up.
Strength is their follow-up to their self-titled debut was Strength. And that song, that album is amazing.
There's so many strong
got so
songs.
many different things. There's hard rock and just almost thrash songs. And then there's totally 80s songs, and then there's throwback songs like Cheap Trick, and then there's Beatley songs on there, and it's like there's so many different things. Like Mark Alden Taylor knows, I came on the show with him and we talked all about that album that time, and it really, like for me, they said pick an album, and I looked at what they'd already talked about. And they'd already talked about Ugly Kid Joe, and they already talked about a bunch of bands that I liked, but they hadn't talked about Enough's Enough. And I was like, dude, we need to talk about Strength. That is an album that I think anybody that don't know it, that gives it a chance, will one, fall in love with that album, will two, fall in love with Enough's Enough, and three, will begin to search out their whole discography, which let me tell you, there's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
For a band that never, made $1 million, they've got 1 million songs and seems like 50 albums.
Yep. Yeah, they should have been huge. I mean, it blows me away that they weren't. But it's really crazy.
So if you have no idea what we're talking about a band called Enough's Enough. It's spelled ENUFFZ'Nuff. Look it up.
Yeah.
We're telling you.
But to also cover wrestling, because there's only 15 people watching and I don't care. But Ric Flair did his last match. Did you see any footage of Ric Flair's last match?
The only footage I saw was the afterwards of it when he's walking up the ramp, man. Pretty cool.
Yeah, but be glad we didn't go.
I mean, it's the same thing people say about Kiss. What do you expect? They're 70 years old.
Dude, I watched some of the footage, man. Oh my God. Well, I mean, it didn't help that when he was at his roast the night before that he was drunk off his ass. I mean, that was a bad idea. But he's also Ric Flair, so what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But apparently he blacked out twice during the match.
Wow.
He literally passed out. And but like no, it was like Jeff Jarrett and I don't remember, was the other guy's name something Lethal?
Jay Lethal.
Jay Lethal. They did the best.
Yeah.
They did the best they could with what they had, but I mean, come on. I mean, like Rick was barely able to move, man. It was like I'm glad I didn't pay money to see that live.
It reminds me a lot of
sad.
Kiss. It really does. The parallels with that and a Kiss concert are so much the same. Like I've talked to people that said I was crying during the match. Well, how was the match? Well, the match sucked,
Right.
but it was Ric Flair's last match. It's the last time I've ever going to see the Nature Boy. I seen him when I was 10 years old wrestle, Ricky Steamboat or somebody,
Oh yeah, different
to
time.
get to see him one last time. That's the same way people look at Bon Jovi, the same way people look at Kiss. They don't have to be good, they just have to be there one more time.
And that's fine. If people went and they loved it, great. But I'm like, I watched the footage and I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't pay money to see that, because no way.
Well, they say the undercard more than made up for it, and the emotion of it, and in wrestling and rock and roll, especially the kind of stuff we like, there's a certain emotion behind that. There's a certain feeling of ownership to it,
Now, this was something, I'm not as big a wrestling nerd as you, but so I didn't realize this was a big deal. But apparently the biggest deal for this match was when he walked out, he was wearing the old school NWA championship belt that I guess people thought was lost for like decades. Did you know about that?
I don't know nothing about that. I mean, it looked like an old WCW title he was carrying. It didn't look like nothing special to me, unless that was like the actual one.
Well, that's what people were saying. They were like,
because
they thought it was
replicas of those up and down everywhere. You can order one of them right now.
Okay, well, people were making a big deal out of that, and I'm like, well, I guess
maybe that's something more than I know about. I don't know.
But like, let's hope that he doesn't decide to come back again after this. Like, I don't
know. My wife's told me that she had read somewhere that this was just the beginning. Like that was such a big deal that it's going to happen other places too.
Well, now I'm hearing rumors. Well, to bring it back to Kiss, now I'm hearing rumors that Kiss is like looking at doing a full Europe tour next year. It's like they're never going to fucking retire, dude. They're never going to, until one of them dies. They're not going to stop.
Well, you know how they have the strings that they hook to Gene and they lift him up to do God of Thunder and all that?
They'll just do that to his corpse?
They're just, exactly. Like the members of Kiss, they'll be like marionettes at some point. Like Gene just did an interview where he's like, I can't do this no more. The armor is so heavy and
bullshit.
I'm getting old, and it's by the time the show's over, I'm ready to die, It's like, I don't know, man. I mean, as long as the money's there, they're going to keep going.
Dude, do you know how much money they're making like per show when you combine ticket sales, merch, everything? They're making insane amounts of money. So I don't blame them for doing what they're doing.
So why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
If the demand is there, and this will be the argument from Kiss. If the demand is there, what did the Scorpions tell you 5 years ago? We're retiring. But then we went to the car wash and somebody said, you guys shouldn't retire. You guys need to put out more albums. And they did. And it worked out for the Scorpions because they're putting out fucking awesome albums.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for us Kiss fans, they're not putting out no more albums, but they drag out the tour. But you know what? They sell out all over the place. People are excited. They just like Ric Flair. The show may not be the best, but you're so emotional to be there to say, hey, this is the last time I'm going to get to see Kiss, or this is the time I'm getting to show my great-great-grandchild, I brought them to the show, and it's an emotional thing. It's not like back in the day where you'd go and say, this is the greatest band in the world, they're the hottest thing I've ever seen, it's like, they're so good concerts, they're amazing. And it ain't that no more. Now it's, I'm crying because it's emotional because I have investment in Ric Flair. I have investment in Kiss, like part of my childhood. I want people to know about that. That's really all it is anymore.
Yeah, and you can only expect so much out of people that age. I mean,
and even if they suck, it's still Kiss, And even if he's old and can barely move, he's still the Nature Boy Ric Flair, And that's that. It all kind of goes together that way.
Yeah,
are you paying to see Ric Flair put on a 5-star match? No, that's not happening. You know that ahead of time. Are you going to see Kiss put on a 5-star show? Other than all the things going on around them, the band themselves?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Do you care?
Our friend Earl Skakel was in town for the roast. I don't know if you saw.
You know what? What I seen from him?
He was great.
fucking awesome, Earl Skakel. Way to go, dude.
My
Kick
favorite
ass.
line, my favorite line was he pointed at Ric Flair and he said, "This man has extracted millions and millions of dollars from Vince McMahon, and he didn't even have to fuck him."
Yeah. Earl Skakel was saying some pretty funny, controversial shit that people were like, "What? What did he just say? Oh, that's
Yep.
funny." I love Hulk Hogan, man, but what he said about Hulk Hogan was funny as hell.
What was it that he said? I don't
They
remember
talk
that.
about Hulk Hogan's sex tape, how Hulk Hogan having sex is a lot like his matches, 2 moves and a terrible finisher.
That's right. I thought that was great too. I knew Earl wouldn't hold back either.
No,
I knew he
no,
would go full bore. Yeah.
no. He's a student of Roddy Piper, man. He's gonna
Yep.
give it all.
That's too funny. But yeah, no, I was happy that he got to do that. But no, I mean, like, you know, same with Ric Flair and with
Me
Kiss.
too.
I'll tell you, if you want to go see it, if you want to go see it and enjoy it, fine. To me, I think I've hung up my boots on a lot of these heritage acts that I used to love. You know, it's like I'll take the memories that I made with them and just enjoy that. You know, but if you never saw them, fine. Of course, I say this now, and you and I both know that we're both going to be at seeing Pantera live next year with
Yeah.
Charlie and Zach. So.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, what the fuck do we know?
I'll be a hypocrite. We're all hypocrites.
If Hulk Hogan's wrestling up the street tomorrow, I'd be going.
That's right, brother.
It wouldn't be a good match, but you know, I'm going to see the Hulkster.
Anything you want to touch on before we get out of here?
I love you guys.
I mean, we're covering a lot. We're going to cover a lot.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that listens to the Decibel Geek podcast. I mean, we posted it last week. I mean, we were ranked at number 23 in music history podcasts, and that's not just rock and roll. You know, that's Dolly Parton and all the rap podcasts and everything. You know, and talk about country music and rap music in the big picture of things nowadays. Seem like they're a lot more popular than rock and metal, you know, but we're hanging right in there with them. And 23, you know, we've been higher and we've been way lower, you know, and you can't really go by the ratings too much because they fluctuate so much. You know, you might be 23 today and 159 tomorrow, you know, but it was just kind of a cool thing. And like, I got it on my phone, the Chartable app that tells us where our rankings are at. And every once in a while, I'll remember to look at it. I'll just be like, oh, I wonder how we're doing. And that day I was like, fucking hey, man, I'm up to 23. We haven't been this high in a minute. And so I sent it to Chris, and, you know, he was cool and said, you know what? If anybody's thanked for this, it's our listeners, because you guys are the ones that get us up there. You know, we started this show over 11 years ago just for the hell of it. I remember high-fiving Chris over 50 listeners. You know, I'll never forget that. Like, we literally high-fived over 50 listeners. Like, if we had 50 listeners today, I'd be like, did you only upload like 2 minutes to the episode? What the fuck happened?
What did you do?
But it's a thrill, you know, to be able to tell people like I said, with my job, you know, I work with some pretty prestigious people. I am employed by millionaires, you know, and to be able to go back to them and say, you know what, I got this, check this out. And they go, man, that's fucking awesome. You know, I was talking to a guy the other day, a guy named Phil, and he would bring in photos. He works in the kitchen and he just does it. He doesn't do it because he needs to. He does it because he likes it, you know. So he works in this kitchen. He's an older guy, and there's a photograph of him holding a film camera. So we're talking like back in the day. And I go, what is this? And he goes, well, if you look over here, this is, I think it was, he said Croatia. This was filmed in Croatia. This is the cabal of Red Skull. And I was like, Red Skull? What, like from Captain America? He's like, that's right. The first Captain America movie. He was he filmed the first Captain America movie from back in the day.
From the 80s?
Yes.
And I used to watch that.
Yeah. So he filmed it. And he also worked on movies with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal and all this stuff. And he goes, yep, I used to be somebody.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I said, that's cool. You know, he's like, you know, I mean, I still am, I guess, but, you know, I used to be somebody. And I said, that's cool. You know, I said, here's something, you know, you think I'm just some jackass maintenance man, but, you know, I used to be somebody too. I said, I used to be one of the most popular rock radio DJs in central Wisconsin. I said, I was one of the most sought after ring announcers in Middle Tennessee for pro wrestling. And I said, furthermore than that, I am a co host on one of the most popular rock music podcasts in the entire world. And he looked at me, and the guy that had a huge hand in creating the Captain America movie from back in the 80s
Mhm.
was impressed.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
I
I
love
love
that.
that. I'm proud of what we do here on Decibel Geek.
Well,
And it's easy for us because we love it, man. We
yeah,
love this music that we talk about. I mean, who else is going to spend an hour talking about Enough's Enough, and then going to Kiss and going to Whitesnake and Dio and, talk about new bands like Guillotine and then somehow end up talking about Ric Flair, We're
yeah,
just a couple of fun dudes, and we enjoy doing this. And I mean, really, I mean, I've been meaning to tell you this for a while, Thank you, Chris, for creating this to begin
uh,
with, and giving me the opportunity to be a part of it because Decibel Geek is such a huge part of my life, and I'm so proud of all the things that we've done, and all the people we've met and all the friends we've made all over the world and all the other podcasts we got to, influence and then be guests on,
yeah,
and be friends with and Rockin' Pod and Artie Kornfeld and Dick Wagner and Gary Corbett and things that, would never have been a part of my life if not for Decibel Geek, and so man, thank you for creating it and thank the listeners for sticking with us for all these years. And, everyone that comes on every day, we got new people all the time discovering us. That's
yeah,
why, your reviews and recommendations are so important because you help other people figure out what we're doing here. And then we got all these awesome people that join us when we do a Friday Night Live to hang out. Rob Rowe and everybody else has been chiming in tonight, man. Love it. I love this so much. You guys have made my life so much better, just for being rock and rollers with us,
yeah.
and we're going to continue doing this. We got a lot of cool stuff coming your way. Rockin' Pod, Chris announced the dates earlier, that's coming up next year. It's only 7 months away. Start planning now. We want to see you come party with us. And, to go through the week that I've had, from the ant bites to the, hot water heater and that's not even scratching the surface of everything else in between that has gone crazy this week. But the things that have gone great this week are, the love of my wife, the friendship with Chris, the Decibel Geek podcast, and all of you, So just, a lot of gratitude to everybody. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for saying that. This is probably the worst time to fire you, but okay. No,
Fuck you, I quit.
yeah, you could quit before I could fire you. No, oh man, there's no way this would have lasted 11 years without having you on board. So, like, it's not only the story of enjoying talking about rock, but doing it with you. I mean, it's our friendship. So,
yeah, for sure.
and then on top of that, like Rockin' Pod and all the friendships we made in the podcast community, and those of you that listen, we've got we're now officially 10 episodes away from 500. We need to do something big. We never do anything big for ourselves.
We never do. We always say we're going to, and then 300 comes and goes, and then 400 comes and goes, and then here comes 500. We're really going to do something special this time. But what? What are we going to do?
Well, I want to do like I'm going to like try to compile clips from over the years, and then at the same time also do a full-on. I want to do a live stream for the few of you that watch the live stream, and we'll do that on have a week where we really celebrate 500 because that's a big deal. I do think we need to kind of memorialize it, and I think it'll be fun because we need to do it. We need to look back, and thankfully Aaron found the first 2 Gary Corbett episodes we did. So thank God
I don't know
that.
if you guys know that, but if you look back in the archives, as I've been told, the first 2 episodes with Gary Corbett, for whatever reason, are not there. And Chris said, "Do you have them?" And I said, "I don't think so. No, you have them?" He's like, "I don't think so." And then just by chance the other day, while I was editing the last episode, I looked in my little memory drive thing, and I was like, holy shit, there they are right there, 1 and 2. I gotta download these things, send them to Chris right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna get them to Pantheon, and we'll get them added to the actual the backup. Which those like two of our most popular episodes, and they got lost in the shuffle when we switched hosts. So that's like the danger of switching hosts.
Yeah.
So always back up your MP3s. But anyway, but like we're gonna do something special.
If we could only find that interview with the guitar player from Wicked Lester.
No, I deleted. I deleted that. But
that one's been lost on purpose.
Yeah, very much intentionally.
Creeper.
That will not happen. But no, we'll do something special for 500. We'll do a live stream. We'll do an episode. We'll actually try to play it up and really enjoy that, because I'm looking for with doing the new Noize. You know that we're doing like 2 a week. So basically in 5 weeks we're gonna hit 500 if we keep going on the pace. Oh, wow. So yeah, so we're not far off, and I want to get a live stream with like some of our friends from other podcasts and stuff. I think that would be fun to kind of have a celebration.
500th episode, we should just get all the podcasts that we influence to say nice stuff about us.
Exactly. It's time to pay the piper, fuckers.
Baco, I need you to talk about how awesome the Packers are.
That ain't happening. Yes, Ronnie, you missed it. We did talk about the Sam Loomis videos. Well, but watch the replay.
Rewind it.
Thanks, Al. Congrats. Yeah, we're not at 500 yet. We got 10 more to go. But
getting there.
But stay tuned for a live stream for that, because that'll be a lot of fun. All right, so you want to wrap this up?
Yeah, I guess so. You know, like I said, thanks to all you that have supported the Decibel Geek podcast over the years. Thank you to Pantheon Podcast, who definitely support us. They keep the show coming for free to everybody. We never were going to charge for it to begin with, so we might as well figure out a way to make it free forever. Pantheon is the reason for that. If you love the Decibel Geek podcast, I always tell you, go find Pantheon Podcast. They got all the best music podcasts in the world. If you're looking for something new, it's the perfect place to start. And give them a little thanks. Give them a like on Facebook or whatever. You know, follow them on Twitter and just give them a thanks, you know, for supporting us and supporting rock and roll. I was thinking about that. I would have actually had that together if it weren't for the whole hot water heater fiasco.
Well,
I've got a Beat the Geek in the books. So the questions are all lined up, all 11 of them.
Okay.
All we got to do is find an opponent, and we can make it happen sometime very soon.
Okay. We'll do it.
People love Beat the Geek.
Yeah, I miss doing it.
I love the fact that this may be my favorite thing about doing Decibel Geek is the fact that we never pigeonholed ourselves into doing just one thing.
No, we do what we want.
We're like 100 shows in one.
Yeah, we are.
You know, so like when we say, what are we going to do next week? It's always fun because like last week, Chris was like, how about Demolicious? I was like, fuck yeah, I was just thinking about that. You know, so we got so many different things we can go back and pull from, but we're always able to be creative and come up with new stuff too. And when something that we come up with, even something like Beat the Geek that everybody loves so much becomes something, that's cool, man. And it encourages us to keep being creative and come up with new ideas. And we're always open to suggestions. You know, if you guys got an idea, something you'd like to see us cover, hit us up. We're on Facebook. Send us a message. Let us know what you think. We got people there all the time giving us great ideas. So if you got one you'd like to see us try it out, we'll probably do it. Let us know. But yeah, mostly just gratitude and thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. We wouldn't be doing it for 11 years if we couldn't mix it up. So thank you guys for hanging in there with us.
A long time ago, and so would you.
And with all the drama behind the Sam Loomis leaks, thank God we're not a Kiss show. Thank God.
We almost were. That's what Torpedo Dudes is for.
Yeah, we need to do another one of those soon too. Yeah, we'll do that Sunday.
Okay, cool. I got a couple of the last times we recorded Chris and Aaron. I got like 3 I'm going to smash together into one episode for our VIPs.
Cool. Well, thanks for tuning in, those of you that watched tonight, and we'll do it again soon.
Work clothes and all, we're here to rock and roll. We are the Decibel Geek Podcast.
See ya.